What drove me to make art? I can't put a finger on it really, except that even at the beginning, I enjoyed to think about things, to muse about things, to spend time on my own and really explore. I started engaging with ideas. At one point, I used to just pick up an idea. I still do that now, like a theme that I liked. Okay, I wanted to talk about prostitution or the mind, how the mind works, or bags, as I did those days, just a theme, and then render it in whatever way. So then I made paintings, there was a work that was about video, there was performance, a bit of everything. But as the years have gone by, I have tried to not work in that way of just any theme, but like try to figure out what am I doing really. I'm happy to be led to the place where we discover. I think art should be that way because it's a message. Like when the prophets received messages, they never really know. They just come to say what they are told to say. So I believe that's my own assignment. If it's laid in my heart, I call it a revelation. Actually, that's what it is. Okay, do this and then present it, then I do it, and then we're like, okay, yeah, this is what has come up. And we marvel at that thing now. It hasn't finished, but I am the person who is receiving the information. I kind of know when it's ready and when it's not ready. So even if somebody says, oh, it's ready, and I don't receive from inside of me that it's ready, I'm like, okay, let's see. But when it says, I get like, that's it. And I don't want to do anything. I've had it. I'm like, okay, this is ready now, done, finished. I know, it's a knowing that I have. I used to read a lot, so I would take a book and go away and explore that book. And I remember my grandmother used to say, where is Amarachi? Amarachi, like this is in Igbo, my language. Are you sure she's well? Are you sure she's there in that house? And I would hear her from inside. And this was me from when I woke up, like I hadn't gotten out of bed or eaten or showered until maybe 3 p.m. exploring a book or something. So I would laugh, but I had to finish that book. So those kind of things that I did in my younger days, then I was a teenager or something, it's still the same kind of thing I do today. So I would, except that I would shower and maybe try to have breakfast. Staying with one thing, and really tackling that thing until I come to a point. So now it would take me a longer time, weeks, months, or who knows, even years to tackle one idea. And that's how I work. For me, it wasn't like I started to draw and paint at the beginning when I was a child. I would draw and fill up the whole place. No, but it would be exploring things, staying with one thing, like today I don't draw so much, so it's the same way. Pick up an idea and then I'm like, okay, think about it this way, think about it, take it. When I'm doing this thing, I'm still thinking about it and figuring out, do it this way or that way. Even when I'm painting, when I'm making a painting, it's still the same, not drawing it, but fleshing out the different parts of it and trying to put a color here or put a color there, or the point I'm trying to make with this painting. My paintings are not figurative, by the way, but trying to fuse in those ideas because I'm thinking of them. I let it like envelop me. so that thought is all what I'm thinking about, and it gets translated into the work that I'm making. So I don't know, I can't really say when it started, but I know I've been the same for many years, and I'm probably going to be like that until I die. Hopefully not soon. So I can make more art and engage more people. Yeah. So getting that cigarette thing, you then now call the filter, the stub, or the butt. Some call it butt, some call it stub. But the stub, you cut it open, and then so you have the different colors, either creamy white, this is whitish green. We have names for them to know which one is which. But for this piece, I like I wanted to have, it came to me like that, to have like a clean white artwork. This is not white, but it's the closest. Just to have a clean white large surface. And I was thinking of The Good Spirits. That's the title it started with. Now it's not finished, so I can't completely talk about it because my work changes. It starts with something, and as it's growing, my ideas are growing. You know, it's processing until it comes to the end. It's not like one thing that then you do it and it finishes. So I let that time deal with it, deal with me and deal with the work and with the material. I'm drawn to things that are used because I also look at the situation of use. When you've been used, you're more, as a person, when you've been used, you're more mature. You grow from that point to the next point. So materials also, when they've been used, they've, you know, grown from one place to another place, they become something else. So it comes down to the transformation, which I was doing at the beginning, and my fascination with when things look used. Not necessarily old, but they have a history when they've been used. I learned how to sew by hand as a little girl. I did a lot of sewing. My mom is a teacher, but she also was sewing a lot. So when I was 15, she made me, well, not that she forced me like we made, but she actually made me by myself sew my dress, what we call Sunday dress in the boarding house. We wear white on Sundays. So I wanted to have a new one made, and she cut it and then asked me to sew it. My work these days, in current times, I mean, I've worked on different themes. I find that my work used to be about one thing and then later about something else, and it keeps changing depending on how I feel. I mean, one can feel a certain way about a situation, and then it progresses to another kind of feeling. So I don't regret if it's changing. And it started to go into my feelings about people and society. You know, I started being more concerned. Maybe it's with me growing up, you know. When you're younger, you're concerned with different things. As you're growing up, you become more concerned about another kind of thing. So, but in recent times, it's been focused on people and society and the things that we do, why we do the things we do, why do we even exist, what is our mission here, why am I alive, and what responsibility do I owe to the next person, or what responsibility, you know, do people owe to one another or to the society where they live in. So those kind of subjects are the things I work about. My work is a lot about these days. When we are talking about the environment, it's not just looking after in the environments out there, but there's a bottom of the whole thing. So if I'm not changing my perception in general, I'm just going to go and plant a tree there, and I come here and kill the tree or kill the other tree, or I do something at the other place that will affect the environment. So if I recognize that I have a responsibility to everybody to keep this place we call Earth, we live in, we inhabit here. It was made nice and beautiful at the beginning, and we've done so many things, you know, to destroy it, and we continue to do that, and now it's trending, you know, and some of us are actually even saying it because they make money from it. Do they really believe, you know, that this place, we have a responsibility to this place we call Earth, or even to our body? I have a responsibility to my body to keep it the way God made it. I believe in God, so I talk about I talk about God, the way it was made for me to stay healthy. There are things that I do, the way that I live or eat food, there's a way that I can eat and then I will be sick. So I am taking my course, you know, from the bottom. Like, do it from the bottom and then the symptom will be right. So I'm not just talking about the environment for the sake of talking about the environment. I talk about things that when we look to these things, then we're going to change up here. So the materials that I use natural materials, natural fibers that I harvest, either like the sisal that I use for paper making, I harvest, but the banana are ones that have already been cut off. So you take the stem and you process it to get the fiber. The sugar cane, when they've been chewed, you know, then you take the fiber and put, and then make paper. Okra is also when they've been used. So I get the stem and harvest the bark. So those are all from the environment. And if things are not okay with the environment, then they're not going to grow properly, or they are going to be bananas that are looking weird. So yeah, but really, I enjoy nature in its purest form. So the cigarettes that I use, I mean, I was drawn to that. I don't have a different story than I was drawn to it, and I listened. I didn't resist it. I tried to resist that material for some years. Like, it's been 21 years now. I found that material at the Department of Fine and Applied Arts, Works Department, anybody that knows that place. In front of the art department in the university, there's a place that people used to sit. And at that time, I worked a lot with earth colors. So I was attracted to that material. So over time, I left it and I keep going back and forth. So, but when you look at that material closely, what our capital is saying with it, they're telling people, I mean, we all know lung cancer, you smoke and you get lung cancer, but they play it down, like, oh, it won't really kill you, you know. And then they use the filter that is supposed to have filtered the smoke. But does it really filter the smoke? The last exhibition I had was based on a work that I made from 2015 actually. So it's been a while that kind of thinking has stayed with me. The Color of Our Hearts, The Color of a City was telling me and everyone who saw the work, the whole society actually, that the way we are inside is the way our environment would be. So if I'm an angry person and all the time I'm complaining and shouting at people, so even my children will become angry people. Wherever they go, they'll be shouting, hey, you do this, you know, like that. So if I'm a pleasant person, people around me will become like that. And if you multiply that, let's say in my household, I'm peaceful, I'm pleasant, I'm kind. And my family is all like that, and the next family is like that. You know, that neighborhood will be pleasant. So whoever comes from another neighborhood into this place will be like, oh, these people are very nice, you know. So, and if you multiply that, that becomes the way the city is. You can go to another society, people are nice, but if you check that whole environment, they are nice and we want to move there. That place is not nice because the trees are nice. It's the people there that have shaped that city. So that's what I'm saying with that one. So in that work, I was talking to people again, why are we the way we are? Do we expect something and then we are acting out something different that wouldn't give us the kind of result we expect? With my work, I'm announcing beauty. You know, you look at this as beautiful. It may not be pretty the way it will be pretty for everyone, but then in my work there is beauty for those who would see beauty in it. I hope everyone would. Different kinds of beauty. So beauty may not just be that something is pretty, it may be that it's comforting, it may be that it takes you to a place where you are psychologically comfortable, or a safe place, or that I'm talking to you, saying something that you agree with, even if it's something you don't agree with, but may it bring you to a place of goodness. Beauty, mercy. Mercy, we need mercy. In Nigeria, we need mercy. Many people are crying. I mean, I live here in Nigeria, so this is my roots, so everything steps from where I live. It's my immediate community, it's my locality. But then again, I find that the system would have been in such a way that things are done the way they are supposed to be done. People wouldn't be sitting like this. Even if a few people are, not as many people would be sitting begging, not as many people would be poor. You know, so I'm asking whoever is in charge of anything, just be merciful, you know, and think about these people when you're taking decisions you would take that some of us would look at as selfish, you know. So, and when you've done that, then it's kindness. You're being kind to your society and you're showing love. So we need a lot of that at this time. If not only in Nigeria, in every other country, I hope more people will relate to what I'm asking us to announce. And by just announce it, I mean you talk about it and you actually do it. Bottom line of my work is, let us be kind so that we will have a good society. Actually, I see my assignment, I call it my ministry. Art is my ministry. It's my assignment as an artist to talk about the things that I find are the ills of the society. I mean, I'm not saying I am better than some people, but this needs to be corrected. Why don't we look at things this way, or shall we look at it this way? That kind of thing. So that's what my work is about. It has been about in 9 to 10 years. My work used to be about one thing and then later about something else, and it keeps changing depending on how I feel. I mean, one can feel a certain way about a situation, and then it progresses to another kind of feeling. So I don't regret if it's changing a bit, but in the last, maybe up to 10 years or 9 years, it started to go into my feelings about people and society. You know, I started being more concerned. Maybe it's with me growing up, you know. When you're younger, you're concerned with different things. As you're growing up, you become more concerned about another kind of things. I also made work before, Ask Yourself. That was the first interactive work I made. There I was saying, what do you want to see in Nigeria? I enumerated many things, and I said, ask yourself, are you doing that yourself, or are you expecting the next person to do that? So I mentioned things like, do you have integrity? Are you well behaved? Like, do you obey the system? Do you obey the law? Are you a just person? Do you believe in justice? So in this forthcoming show that I'm going to have in October 2022, I am saying announce beauty, mercy, kindness, and love. So that's also me telling myself and everybody to announce beauty, like it's our responsibility to announce and act out beauty, mercy, kindness, and love. So before we complain about a city, I mean, I live in Abuja, and Nigeria, we have our problems, too many to enumerate in this conversation. But we complain, oh, the leaders are like this, people are like that, the other person is not doing this, and the other person is not doing this. But if we check ourselves, how are we? Are we the kind of people that will tell somebody, oh, after you, go forwards, give people, are we kind? What kind of people are we? You can go to another society, people are nice, but if you check that whole environment, they are nice, and we want to move there. That place is not nice because the trees are nice. It's the people there that have shaped that city. So that's what I'm saying with that word. The economy of practice. Okay, at the beginning, I used to say that I wouldn't make my art for money. What do I mean by that? I wouldn't let my reason for making art be the finances. So from very early on, I saw art as a responsibility and a place of like a pedestal where you can be and you project your voice. So I don't know how I got that kind of philosophy or ideology, but it happened really at the beginning, because at the beginning I had no money really and I was making these kind of works that I even had no hope of selling. Like, it didn't even come to my mind, the economy of it, or how would I sell this. But I used to say in those days that I would rather make what I want to make and then sell crayfish to pay for it, sell the crayfish for money and bring the money to the practice. But as I have grown older and learnt about business, and maybe like, it hasn't come from the need for money. I mean, I've had the need for money, but I honestly don't feel like because of my need for money I would do this. I would still rather do something else, which actually is what I do. I do other work, like with my curatorial training and administration, but I try to keep my art pure, But as I've grown older, I've been thinking a lot about, okay, this thing that I have built, how do I now face it, to be able to generate value that is monetary. So that money would be useful to me, and it also grounds my practice. It would make me comfortable that yes, this thing is valuable, because if somebody pays for it, then it's really valuable. But if nobody pays for it, it's not valuable. I mean, people have paid in a way, in other ways. I mean, I've got grants that have funded my art, and I know that if you work in a certain way, there are people that fund those kind of projects that wouldn't fund you anyway if you are making pieces and selling. So it's a different angle. Like, artists work in different ways. Some are making, some are commercial, others are doing, other kinds of things. People have also paid for my work in that way, but I'm thinking a lot these days about how can I actually make it stand, not just to prove to myself that my work has been accepted, but also even for those that are following me. Because I can imagine there are people that are looking up to me, younger artists, who would be able, who should be able to say, oh, this thing actually pays, quote unquote. I mean, payment is not only when it's valued by cash. You know, you can be successful, you can be happy, you find other ways of success. But I mean, people should be able to say, okay, your work actually sustains, you know, or the money you make from it sustains it. So yeah, now I'm thinking a lot about that. And even when I make installations, how can I also convert to bring from that installation money back into the practice, either to sustain the work or even to pay those who are helping me, or to fund things that I want to fund that are good causes for humanity, because I'm really interested, actually concerned about those kind of things. I want to be able to help people. I want to be able to, you know, put money in things that are helpful to humanity. I make art because I enjoy the moments that I spend with my materials. That is personal. I enjoy that. Maybe like people enjoy a glass of wine. I don't enjoy a glass of wine. Fortunately or unfortunately. But I really enjoy the time in the studio when I can be quiet and really muse about things. So that's a short-term kind of satisfaction that I take away. And then I enjoy the fact that I am doing something that I want to do. I have been involved in things, maybe in work and things that would have led me to a different direction in life, but I keep pulling myself back. I've made sacrifices and things that have, you know, continued to bring me to where I want to be. So it's a journey and it's a deliberate pursuit. I enjoy that. And I want to make impact, even in art history, so that it can be said this person lived. You know, all I have not always, for some time now, quite a long time, imagined that I'm making work for museums, like institutions. So often I make these large pieces or large installations. I mean, naturally, the work I make grows. I can start a piece small, and as it's growing in my mind, it's actually growing physically. And it ends up being a work that can't just be in somebody's dining room. You know, it ends up the kind of work that has to be in a place that is quite spacious, and that would be institutions or people that really have large spaces, and that kind of impact I want to make, you know. So if I can make work that will be collected by large institutions, and then people can come, people from my village, you know, little children, and say, oh, this is a woman from my, was from my community, and I knew her. And actually even the art name that I have, my studio, which is Orie, it's also like it's a day of the week from the Igbo calendar. So I went deep to pick that up, to say that I am from a place that is, I'm from a place, local, more local than Nigeria or from the globe. There is a place here that people don't know about. So if I can make impact, it's also drawing to the fore that little place that I've come with, just so that somebody can say, this person lived. I would like to have that kind of impact in the world. I hope it happens. It's something that I desire. I mean, it's short term, it's also long term, because the little steps I take every day are driving towards that. It doesn't just happen. So I am disciplining myself and making choices, you know, that lead to that. It has become a way of life, but yeah, each action has a consequence. Like I say in my work, it's part of what I say, each thing you do has a consequence. So I hope that the things that I do every day gets to have a big impact consequence positively for humanity and for the arts.